different day. Hello. I'm really excited to talk about and I talk about books today. We're going to talk about books, we're going to talk about women's leadership development, all of the fun things. And so the question that I posed in the announcement of me going live was like, what would it be like if every woman had a coach? And not just people who are in the c suite or have access to it. And that's a lot of the reason why I wrote my book is obviously I am a leadership coach, but I wrote my book because I thought to myself, okay, what a better way to put my women's leadership program in something and then be able then to share it with the whole world and make it accessible. And so I want to share with you today some really exciting things coming this summer. So I've actually already seen it on my newsfeed. People are talking about summer book clubs. They're talking about what to read by the pool this summer. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity to share why I'm approaching my book release and book club the way I am. And I want to talk to you about the two other books that I'm going to be putting in with my book club opportunity. So let me just back up this whole story. So before I went off on my own, I worked in corporate America for 15 years. And I worked in financial services. And when I was promoted to a leader, I was lucky enough to get put into a leadership boot camp with, this was before she was, I like to say before she was famous, with now author Cy Wakeman. And so Cy Wakeman, this is one of my favorite books, RealityBased Leadership by Cy Wakeman. And it was one of the first leadership trainings I'd ever been a part of. And probably the leadership philosophy that stuck with me the most when I was a new leader, when I was learning how to navigate that weird sticky space from going from peer to leader, all of a sudden now you're managing the people that you used to be peers with. And her reality-based leadership philosophy was so transformative for me as a leader. And really knowing how to, she calls it ditch the drama, but really knowing how to deal with personalities and people at work. I mean, I always joke it, but I think it's true. And that like work is really easy until all the people get involved, right? Like, because then you're dealing with personalities and problems and differences of opinion and how do you manage that? And like just all the stuff that comes along with it. And like her book was transformative to me in terms of like having a process for really knowing how to keep people focused, how to get results, and really how to navigate sometimes like just the messiness that can come with all of us as humans, right? We're all people. And, so I actually worked in corporate America. I went to go work for her. Actually, I traveled all around the country and did leadership development, coaching, and consulting. And one of the really cool things is that they a company called Neo is an electric car company in Silicon Valley. They're a competitor to Tesla. Wanted Cy to come do a 2-day leadership training with their team. Cy was busy. So they got me. And so I was able to go to San Jose to do this training. Actually, I think we're in San Francisco. And I met their CEO, Padmasree Warrior. She goes by Padma. And she was amazing. I will never forget something that I learned from Padma. I was working with her leadership team, and Neo is a Chinese-based company. And of course, we were talking about just human dynamics, and her leadership team was just talking about some of the struggles that they were having with communicating with some of their team members in China. I mean, and we get into this, right? They do business so much differently than us. They're unreasonable. They want different things. I mean, we've all said this, right, in the corporate environment. And Padma was so calm. And she looked at her team, and I will never, ever, ever forget this. This was a huge lesson for me as a leader. She said, you know what? She goes, I know it's tempting to think that we're all different and that they want different things from us in business. She goes, but we are all people, no matter if we're in the United States or we're in China. And people just want to be seen. People want to be heard, and they want to belong. And everybody just kind of was silent. And it was just the truth in that statement just resonated so much. And I thought, wow, like this woman is an amazing leader. Like she gets it. She understands that at the end of the day, we are all just working with people. So give me a heart or give me a like if you've ever just had an awesome leader like that has ever been able to put these things into perspective. Tag them if you want and tell them, or make sure you send them a note of gratitude today. So fast forward to 2019. I was traveling a lot at work, and I was done traveling, and so I went to my boss to Cy Wakeman, and just said, hey, I really want to get off the road and focus on coaching more. And so we decided that I was going to go and start my own business. And she was incredibly supportive. I'm so lucky to have somebody so supportive. And we partnered on a few clients. And so in 2019, I started my own coaching practice. And in 2021, I made it a goal because it had been a huge goal of mine for a long time to write a book. And I'm like, I need to stop talking about writing this book, and I need to actually write this book. And I said, okay, I need to make this a reality. So I hired help. And at the end of 2021, as I was turning in my book to my publisher, I started to think about like doing a book club, because I love books. I love talking about books. But, the one thing that I didn't want was, one, it's obviously still in the pandemic, and I didn't want to do an in-person book club because that limits access, right? You have to kind of be in one place. And then the other thing too is I didn't want to do a book club on Facebook. I don't love the platform. I don't love getting sucked into it. I feel like it's noisy. People don't see stuff. And I'm like, I wish there was a way to have a book club somewhere else. So through, of course, the universe is always so kind. And somehow something popped up on my newsfeed about how Padma, the leader that I so admired, when I was working for Sai, when I was doing her leadership work, popped up on my newsfeed that she had started this online book. She started Fable. Fable is basically like an ebook reader. So if you've ever read a book on Kindle or on Nook, it reads just like that, except for it's interactive. So you can go in and you can like highlight like text, and you can share it with other people in the group and be like, oh my gosh, this is a really amazing insight. Have you ever seen this happen? And so you're having a conversation in the ebook, which is like really fascinating. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a Kindle that's alive. So I pop into Fable and I join a few clubs. I'm like, I want to see what this is all about. This is really cool. So I'm just in here thinking, okay, I'm going to get used to this, see if I like it. And because if I do, then that's how I want to run my book club when it launches, is on Fable. Because again, I was looking for something that wasn't on Facebook. So I joined a reading group that Padma was leading, and her and I started to get into a conversation about just leadership and such. And I thought, well, maybe she remembers me. Well, through the course of the conversation, she's like, okay, I want somebody from my team to reach out to you because we wanted to talk. I think we were talking about the Enneagram or something like that. She's like, we need to talk about this. And so then I sent her a note and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but I was the one who came and talked to Neo. And she's like, oh my gosh. So we got on a Zoom call. I told her about my book. I told her about what my dreams were for this book, that I believe that all women should be in places where decisions are being made. It's very much an RBG thing. And that, like, I just really think that there's just a lot of possibilities to make coaching and leadership insights just more accessible to more women, right? Lots of times, like, the C-suite gets it, but not the folks in between. And so we had this whole Zoom call. We were talking about how important it is for women leaders of all levels to have access to coaching, have access to insights. And she's like, well, I'm starting this thing. It's called Fable at Work. And that's where this whole thing comes in, is I am partnering with her and her team to launch Leading with Confidence. It is a book club plus group coaching program. And so the way that this works in our vision to bring coaching at a very accessible level to women, no matter, what level they're in, is we're going to read 3 books together this summer. So it's on the Fable platform, and we're all going to hop on the Fable platform. And we're going to read 3 books. The first book we're going to read is RealityBased Leadership by Cy Wakeman, for obvious reasons. I mean, again, this book was so transformational to me and many people I know just in my early leadership practices. I often say that, like, this book is amazing for the individual who, well, I think it's good for any leader, but man, it saved me when I was moving into those early leadership roles, and especially managing people that I used to be peers with, and really just kind of testing out, some of my leadership approaches. And there's still so much wisdom in it today. So I'm super excited about that one. And then, of course, since I was looking for a place for my book, and I have my makeshift cover, we're going to be reading Closing the Confidence Gap, which is my book. And so we're reading RealityBased Leadership in June. We're reading my book in July. And I'm really excited to share this with you in the world because closing the confidence gap is all about how to boost your peace, your potential, and your paycheck. It's not only addressing some of the many of the systemic issues that women face in the workplace today, but it gives you a roadmap for how to overcome those. So it's not just about, hey, this is what's happening systemically, but in spite of those things, here's how you can show up and still make impact in the workplace. And so that's what you'll take away as yourself, right? Not about shaping and conforming, but how do you show up, own who you are, trust yourself, and take your bravest next steps. And then the final book we're going to read is another one that I fell in love with this year, one of my most favorite reads in the last several years, and that is My Life in Full by Indra Nooyi. Indra was the CEO of PepsiCo for many years. Fun fact, her and Padma quickly overlapped one another when they both worked at Motorola. Just gorgeous stories of how she grew up in India and just her family and her early careers and the stories of her in the band that she was in and how she moved to the States. And she just talks about the relationship she had with the organizations she was in and how she was supported as a woman leader. And then she calls and advocates for some of the things that we need to support to produce and promote more women in corporate America. And just the storytelling in this book is phenomenal. So I'm like, when I got done reading this book, I'm like, every woman needs to read this book, not only to understand what it's like to rise as a woman leader, but I think Indra does a wonderful job for those of us, I consider myself to be someone who has some privilege. I'm white, I'm a female, just to talk about the challenges that she had being non-white, being an immigrant, moving into this country. And I think these stories are so important to help us build empathy and connection and belonging, the things that Padma talks about, in the workplace today that are so important for diversity and inclusion. And so this book is just awesome. So anyways, yeah. And Jamie, I see your comment. Yeah, she is amazing and vulnerable and a badass leader. That's the best way to say it. So you'll have to tell me in the chat, have you read any of these books? Have you read My Life in Full? Tell me yes. Obviously, nobody's read this one because y'all are going to get early access to it. It actually doesn't launch until November 1st. But if you join this Leading with Confidence book club through Fable, and I'll drop the link, you're going to get early access to my book in July. So you'll get access 4 months early. And then let me know if you've read RealityBased Leadership. So this isn't just a book club, though. Again, because our goal was to bring coaching to women leaders of all levels and make it accessible. We are not only going to be discussing the books in the app, so you'll be learning from one another and, not just learning from the book, but learning from other people in the club because you're going to be there with people all over the world. But we're also going to be hosting between 4 and 6 webinars and live events over the course of 3 months. So there will be a few live group coaching events with me. That'll be like a Q&A group coaching style where you can submit questions and we'll answer them. It could be about what we read or about things happening in the workplace. But we're also going to be having live events with some of the authors and other experts. So I'll give you a little note that Cy Wakeman is confirmed. So you will love her. If you have not met the Cy Wakeman yet, you are in for an absolute delight. So anyways, let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you have, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on replay. Shelly says, I've read all of Cy's books several times. Well, I have too, but I had a little bit of the inside scoop. And y'all make sure that you check out Cy's newest book. So Shelly, if you haven't yet, you probably know, you're probably already a raging Cy fan, but she wrote Life's Messy, Live Happy, a book she's wanted to write forever about her own personal journey. And so of course that one's out new as well. So you want to make sure you check that out. But yeah, I'm super excited about this opportunity. It's going to be running June 1st through August 1st. We're going to be reading the 3 books together. We're going to be in the Fable app together. We're going to be discussing the books, discussing leadership, discussing all things related to women leading with confidence. And then there's going to be the Q&A and the live events. I'm also working with the team to create workbook style leadership assignments. So there will be some hands-on things that you can do and take back to work as well. And I'll be in their group coaching the whole time, interacting in the app. So I'm really excited about it. I would love to have you join us. It's just $140 for all of this. So this is, again, our goal is to make it super accessible because every woman should have a coach and not just folks at the executive level. So if you want to enroll your entire team, I have clients who are planning on enrolling their teams, their large groups. You can absolutely do that. Just send me an email at kelly@kellyraythompson.com or send me a direct message and just say, hey, I want to enroll my whole team. And we'll do that part offline. So anyways, let me know what questions y'all have and let me know what you think. I know this might be a little bit new, but I would love to hear your feedback. Do you think this is something that will be helpful for women in the workplace? Do you think this is something that's great for teams? Just love to hear your feedback and reactions because, again, at the end of the day, the goal is my personal mission is to help women advance to the rooms where decisions are made. And, when in working with Padma, it was just, I can just feel like all the energy right now in my conversation with her and talking about how important it is that women of all levels have access to executive insights, to coaching, and to expertise. And so this is a wonderful, accessible way to make this happen. So, oh, awesome, Shelly. Send me a DM. And all I need is names and email addresses, and I'll get the whole thing going. And we can sign up several of your folks. I have talked with some folks who said that they are going to sign up several members of their team and then do their own little like internal book club meetings and all that sort of fun stuff. So anyways, thanks for joining. If you're, give me a heart or a like or share this. If you're also aligned with this mission of making coaching and insights more accessible to women, get the word out because we would love to have as many women as possible join this initiative. So happy Thursday. Send me a note. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer it. Our enrollment closes on May 31st. So I hope to see you in the club. Have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you again live on my live next Tuesday. Talk to you soon.